Good morning from a windy New Mexico on this election eve morning. Let's see, today's PSA. Let's talk about beneficiaries. I noticed that a couple of our accounts didn't have beneficiaries a couple of weeks ago, and it occurs to me that my kids may not even know what a beneficiary is. So, on all of your accounts, anything that has money in it, checking account, savings account, insurance, these Robinhood accounts, anything like that, they have what they call beneficiaries. And that means if something happens to you and you pass away, someone's going to have to deal with it. Someone's going to get the money and someone's going to have to close the account. So, on anything like that, you need to set up your beneficiary. For like me and your mother, that's probably y'all or others in our family. For you, currently, it could be your parents or even each other. But set somebody up so somebody can deal with these things. God forbid anything actually happens to you. But anyway, it needs to be set up anyway. Um, on a side note, this is tomorrow is the election. No matter who wins, there will probably be effects in the markets, right? And that's what we're doing here. We're playing around with the stock market. Uh, Typically, we see a little bit of a drawback if Democrats are put in office, at least at first, just as there's a lot of uncertainty right at the beginning of a new administration. So, just watch out for it. Everything goes red, don't panic. It's not a big deal because the business, the market, this is what drives everything. I mean, everyone in Congress is in stock markets, so they're going to do everything they can to make sure they're still profitable, right? So, if it all goes down for a little bit, that's fine. It's a short term thing and probably a good time to buy. So, I know it's a Monday. I usually get to you guys on a Wednesday when we get some distribution announcements. But I spent all weekend working on something that's been kind of back of the head for a little while. When when distribution started, there were stocks that gave annual distributions. Once a year, they would pay you a little bit of the profit back, right? And so if you wanted a monthly dividend, you had to find 12 different stocks that paid out in 12 different times. And, you had to time everything for once a month distributions. Then they there were others that were quarterly, so they paid 4 times a year. So then you only had to own 3 stocks timed out to get monthly dividends. Now there's a lot of ETFs that are just paying monthly, so it's a lot easier. And now there are even some that are paying weekly, which we are in. The problem with these weekly dividends and even some of these monthly dividends is that they pay out the dividend, they pay out these really high dividends, but then that actually comes out of the price of the stock and it doesn't have enough time to build back up, right? If you have 3 months for the stock to go back up in value and actually get more profit to be able to pay out the dividends, then the stock's more stable. And so if they're paying out every week and they only have 1 week of business to get more things, to make more money, they have a hard time catching back up, and that's why a lot of these yield max, high dividend paying things are slowly going down in value. They're also doing covered calls on them. I mean, they're not actually a stock; they're putting calls on a stock, which means they're making bets in the future that a stock will be worth something, right? And if that stock turns out to be worth that in the future, then they have to sell it at that price that they guessed at, right? But that also means that if that stock goes way above that price they guessed at, they still only sell it at that price they guessed at, so they don't capture all of that, what they call upside. And so when they lose money, they lose all the money, but when they gain money, they only gain part of the money, right? And so that's why we're having trouble keeping up with that. Um, and so actually having 12 different individual stocks that pay dividends could potentially be more stable, but then also each one of those stocks is only one stock. And so if the company goes down, you lose everything anyway. The whole thing's a gamble. But I have been thinking about how to even accelerate this more for a while, actually, way before this Yield Max came out and started paying all these ridiculous dividends. This was something I was working on way back then, and then I got tied into this for whatever, a year, and actually didn't even think about it again. But the speed of money, right? The compound interest is money times time times exponential gains, right? The longer it goes, the more you own, the more that you own, the more it pays, blah, 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 right? Stacks. So the more often we get paid, which is some of the benefit of these weekly stocks, the more often you get paid. If you get paid 4 times a month on one stock, you can compound that stock 4 times in a month. Well, what if we got paid a hell of a lot more times than that? So this is not comprehensive, but this is the list I made of everything I could find over the weekend. And I have found 15 different pay dates so far. And some of them are overlapping, right? And so the green is what I picked in one particular pay period. This is sorted by the pay dates so that you can see the groupings, right? Yes. And like I said, this is not comprehensive. Like, there's a stack here that I couldn't even find the distribution information yet. I'm still going to work on that. And this is all ETFs. It doesn't even have monthly paying stocks, right? But if we get paid, if we had $1,000 in one of each of these pay dates, 15 days, then that's getting paid, I mean, almost every other day, right? There's not 30 days that the market's open. There is basically 20 days, and we're getting paid 15 of them. That's 3/4 of the time the market's open, we have money coming in. And that's pretty fast. So this is what I've come up with so far as of today. And the reason I'm giving it to you today, because today is one of our pay dates, or one of our declaration dates. This is when we have to buy in, because usually the declaration date, the next day is the ex-dividend date. So this is my first purchase this week. TLTW. I actually made 3 purchases for this week, and I'll show you in just a second. But just a side note, this PSEC is actually just a stock that just happens to pay monthly dividends, and was in a whole nother date. That's how I got to 15. So ascending, we can see the dates, right? This is the pay dates. So I've already made the decisions based on this other deal, what I'm going to be in. And then all I have to do is sort of sending. And as I get paid, as I just have cash sitting in my account, I just come up to the date and see what's available then, right? To be putting in. So tomorrow would have been div, but I actually had some money just sitting in my account anyway. So I split it up. I bought a third of this, and a third of something else, I thought. Oh, I left a third sitting in there to see what the what our distribution announcements were going to be tomorrow or Wednesday. So that is this is a really dumb idea, and it's really kind of insane. But in honor of our lovely grandmother, I'm naming it the Dingbat. So we're going to be going with the Dingbat. On average, here you can see I kind of average this out. All of these things, 15 different things, the average cost per share is that, whatever. So basically, it averages out to 3.5%, 15 times a month. That's now Misty is skewing this ridiculously, right? But even if it averages out to 1%, 15 times a month, I mean, this is going to go, hopefully, theoretically, this is going to go pretty fast. And I'm going to try to keep, like, you won't be able to buy every time, I'm sure. But, I don't know. I'm excited. I kind of want to see just what happens. And, this is not advice. Don't follow me. I'm an idiot. I just happen to have a little bit of extra money, like and I'm gonna try to absolutely break something and see what happens. So that's what I'm doing. We're gonna do the Dingbat. I did want to mention while I have it here, I looked into our accounts. B's account made $4 last week. That's good. It was only like $1.47 the week before. K's account's holding value, but I messed up the Misty thing, so we can't buy anyway. I don't think we would have enough to buy anyway, but we may not be able to buy anything in this until Misty pays out again. And then B's total account is the cryptocurrency. I think that was $5 higher last week, so we're actually not much different than we were last week. We're down $2. But we're still up. Everything's positive. No need to fret yet. One last thing is Miss Roundhill, Amy Roundhill. I have no idea what her real name is. Was working on this tool for the last month or so to help you organize and see all of our distributions in one place. And she even has them organized by week, which isn't entirely accurate since we just had 5 weeks and, but it has a pretty good list of all of the monthly dividend ETFs, a lot that I don't have, so that means I got to go back to work on this thing. No monthly stocks. And if you go into one of these in the details, you can actually change, how much money you want to put in, the actual stock price, the last dividend you saw, and it'll give you an average distribution just to give you ideas of, what you're playing with. It's a fun little tool if you want to play with it. I'll put this link in the description. It's yieldmite.com. What else? I don't know. I've already started the Dingbat, and I'll keep you apprised of how it's going. Talk to you fools later. Hey, get out, get some sun.